Good evening and welcome back to United TV, a live calling show. We said we're going to do one this morning and we're going to give you the opportunity. If you want to come on, have your say about the transfers. Tielemans, done deal. That was pretty rapid. Santos, a done deal as well. If you think Santos is a good signing, then you're welcome to come on, have your say. If you think that Tielemans is good, bad, average signing, I think people are going to have different views, which is absolutely fine. I think sometimes in the comments, people are getting frustrated if their voice isn't heard. So this is an opportunity. If you want to come on, have your say, do so now, please. I will post the link to join in the chat. This is the stream open for everybody. If you don't want to come on and you just want to post questions or thoughts regarding the transfers and what you think is going to happen next, one of the big sources today is that Manchester United are going to go for a third midfielder. And in terms of like what the midfielder is going to look like, what sort of attributes they're going to have, it's going to be someone with legs, according to Ornstein. It's going to be a physical presence, someone that's going to cover the distance. And I think if you're looking at the profiles we've got, it's going to be someone that hopefully complements what we've already got at the club. So that's the key thing here. The transfer window, we had a debate maybe a month ago where people start looking at combination of players. Now we know we got Tielemans, we know we got Santos, we know we got Mainu. The question is going to be now, you can probably get one more signing. I think we can pretend that maybe we think we're going to get in a couple. I don't think we're going to get a couple of signings. I think we're going to be getting one signing. And I'll post a link. I'll keep reposting it for people if you want to come on. But this is your opportunity. We will start trying to do more call-in shows. It just has to have a few callers, just a few people to join us, and then we can have an interesting chat. So we got KONE backstage, and we're going to get him on shortly. But everybody else, you're welcome to join any stage of the conversation. KONE, how are you doing today, mate?
Hi.
Are you ready to chat?
Sorry about that. Can you hear me? Oh,
yeah,
perfect.
I can hear you.
What was your question? Sorry.
Transfer window. This is a general forum to discuss. Like, if you're happy with Tielemans, if you're happy with Santos signing, what do you want to see next in the window? You know, whatever you want to talk about. Because I think we've been doing a few streams. People were getting. I think maybe a lot of people were in their mind thought we were going to get certain players. We didn't go for those players. And how do you feel about it? I mean, it's a bit of a strange one because no one predicted Santos and Tielemans a month ago.
Well, I'd just say, first of all, that I think whenever you sign a player, a lot of it has to do with the combination of the other players that are going to come in and complement those players. So if we signed Fernandes, we might be going after a different player as opposed to a Tielemans or a Santos. So for me, the two players that we signed in that midfield, I'm fairly happy. I'm extremely happy with Tielemans. I think he's going to be our kind of Paul Scholes playmaker from the base of midfield, which is something we haven't had. Every time we have someone in midfield that can't pass, we have to rely on Martinez. And I think last season, a few games where Martinez was injured, our game slightly dropped off. And this is under Carrick, especially for someone like Brian Mbeumo who liked to run in behind. He was making less runs with Martinez out of the team. When Bruno Fernandes was playing in midfield under Amaram, you might have seen more runs, but we don't have anyone with that kind of passing in midfield. So I think it's important that we got the Tielemans deal done. With Santos, I've watched about 100 minutes of him, just watching him. It was the Palace away game last season where they won 3-0. And they won 3-0. And in a game that they lost away to Arsenal, I watched about 30 minutes of that. And for me, he's very raw at the moment. I know a lot of people are highlighting his passing ability or his forward passes, but I think that his passing is definitely a symptom of the type of player he is. And I think that's more down to the fact that he's fairly combative, but he reminds me a bit of Fred. His touch is still a bit loose, and he forces that forward pass when he stands in between the lines and they play that third man pass into him. He'll strike it forward immediately, which is fine. It's very Manchester United like, very Sir Alex Ferguson like. But if you were looking for a clean striker of the ball, if you're looking for someone that can can play as a deep lying playmaker, perhaps he's not that player. And if you are looking for someone on the defensive end to, say, for example, create that pyramid with the two centre backs, similar to what Carrick did with Vida and Rio when they played in the Man United squad, in the Man United team, I think you're gonna have difficulties with Santos playing as a single pivot, is what I'm trying to say. Because when I watched him against Crystal Palace, who don't necessarily play with a 10, what you find is that he just screens the fullbacks, Chelsea's fullbacks. So basically, what he'll do is he'll stand in front of the two centre backs, and then as the fullback pushes up to either play on the ball or even in defense, when he goes up to go in to and meet the winger who has the ball, you'll see Santos slotting in next to the centre back, almost as a makeshift fullback, or you will see him fill in for one of the centre backs that might have pushed forward. So he's not necessarily someone who can go out and rip up trees with his tackling, for example. Everything's got to be timed perfectly, and he's got to get to his man, which is not always easy when you are, I guess, that kind of smallish player. I know a lot of people say that he's like 1.8 meters, but he's still a very small player in my opinion. And against Palace, who's a rather big team, you could see him struggling a bit. But in both games, he seemed to do his job well enough for, in my opinion, for him to have, or to rather offer something to our team next season. But I don't think this is a signing that's going to have an immediate impact next season. It'll have a small impact, but not the type of impact that we might need.
I think
from some.
with this signing, I think a lot of people looked at like potential rather than suddenly become like
Absolutely.
a key player. So I think this one is one where it's probably maybe it's going to be not as raw as Aiden Heaven, and maybe somewhere like you're going to get the best of him in maybe a year or two. I think or at least see him get minutes. I think Tielemans is someone that's going to come in, instantly give some leadership to the team, also some experience which might be lacking considering Santos is the other signing. Who do you think is like who do you like as like a potential third signing? Because the names I've been seeing is like BALEBA gets mentioned, Alex Scott gets mentioned, KONE gets mentioned as three maybe likely. It could well be that we don't know who the third signing is going to be, and it's going to be another signing that goes under the radar.
I think of the again, just with the combination or how the players complement each other, I think it's important that we find a big spaces player. So a really big lad, someone like a Sangare. I know a lot of people have mentioned. I think he plays in the French league. He's someone you
Yeah,
could
no,
use.
he's a really popular player. It's just he doesn't seem to be linked to Man United. But no, if I said we're going to get Sangari, it would be the most popular stream I've done because people are a massive fan. I'm just thinking like that. I think Sangari, Bawadi feel like exciting signings, but I don't think Man United think they're realistic. You never know, though. I mean, no one called Tielemans, so it could be, it could potentially we could be surprised.
Well, I hope so. In actual fact, I'm actually praying for someone like an unknown player, for us spending, let's say, 40, 50 million on a midfielder or even 60 million on a player that kind of raises eyebrows. But when you go and watch them, you think to yourself, wow, this is actually a player that could turn our team for the better. And I know a lot of people are kind of happy about the thought that we can rebuild since Casemiro has left. And I don't want to harbor on what he brought to the team, but we still need to fulfill some of the things that he offered. And I'm not talking about the goals, I'm talking about the defensive capabilities that Casemiro had, because there are a lot of games where, for example, last season when we played against Wolves, it was pretty much a midfield that was run over. Any midfield, any of the teams could run each other. We could run each other over in that match, and it was. I don't know if you remember. It was away. I think we won 4-2. It was like 2-2 at one point. It was a really rough game. But the
Yeah,
one thing that
Wolves were quite poor in that game, and I remember that Cunha was really. I think Cunha wanted to score, and he was taking like way too many shots in that match, from what I can remember. But it was a bit of a scrappy game, but in the end, like Wolves were quite poor overall. I just saw this comment from Real saying justice for Carl Darlow. I think because we signed a goalkeeper, he potentially is the least exciting signing we've done for years because it's just a backup goalkeeper we're not going to talk about too much. But I think this just indicates that probably Vitek's going to be sold and Binder's going to go. Do you have apart from Sangari, do you have a favourite of like? Do you think there's any chance to go for BALEBA? he does get talked about as well.
Again, I'm not too sure. I only mentioned Sangari because, like you said, a lot of people are talking him up. Uh, Again, I just want someone to come in that's going to surprise me. I mean, I like the idea of BALEBA, but I am concerned about his attitude, and I am concerned about, again, his rawness, because he's the kind of player that you want in your team who can kind of like go physically toe to toe with anyone, and that's what you want. But again, I'm just concerned about the kind of playmaking that we need in midfield when the game does go your way, where you do have possession. Can you play the ball on the carpet? You know, that's what United should be about. And for me, I'm not sure yet. I will say he's got a lot of power in his striking, which means he can probably hit the ball quite far. But I'm not too sure about his maturity level, and the price as well. And dealing with Brighton is probably going to be a headache for the recruitment team.
Yeah, no, Jules is saying we definitely need more defensive-minded, athletic DM to complement our new options, which I think most people will agree with
Absolutely.
that as well. I think when you look at BALEBA, he wins an incredible amount of duels, retains possession very well. I think people were like criticise his performance last season, but in terms of like the defensive side of it, he's definitely up there. I think he is very good at that. But again, we don't know what's going to happen. I think the problem with the BALEBA deal is he plays for Brighton, and Brighton are going to demand a lot of money. Like, but as
That is
soon as
the
Matheus
problem.
Fernandes went for 85, it's going to be tough. I just get the feeling that Brighton will want more money than Man United are prepared to pay. It might come down to that. So I don't know. I don't mind that deal, but I'm not sure it happens because of the price that they want for him.
Well, I think that with the way that things have been going, with how we were just stuck with like 3 deals in the space of a couple of days, I think we shouldn't be too concerned with what Ineos are doing behind closed doors, because that's what it feels like. That's what it seems like, because the journalists are out of the loop as well. So I
I,
know they said,
what I found funny is that the journalists are out of the loop. I think there's a couple of journalists that still maintain credibility with David Ornstein, who doesn't say too much, and then he suddenly said, "Look, uh, um, um, Tielemans is close," and then suddenly it's like Tielemans, here we go. And I think actually I'm going to give Fabrizio a little bit of credit that he was saying that Matheus Fernandes goes to the highest bidder, and it was exactly that way as well. So I think there's a lot of stuff being fed to these people by agents. There's a lot of let's say speculative information, and I don't want to say anything bad about Andy Mitten, but he was like this morning saying, "Don't write off too many." And I was thinking, I'm definitely not going to talk about too many. He's a Real Madrid player, and I think it's not very helpful. And before we get Bilal on, have you got anything else you want to say, Corinne? Are you relaxed about the window? Like, do you think we're going to get enough players through the door in what is like? I suppose we're about halfway through the window now.
um, I'm absolutely relaxed. I think every window I've become more relaxed, especially with the Ineos takeover, with some of the stuff I saw, especially after the Newcastle guy left. I forget his name now, the Englishman, best in class guy. But for me, I'm not that stressed out. In actual fact, I think that even though I have mentioned before on the show that I think we need to sign at least like 8 to 10 players in order to compete for that league in 2028, I do feel as if the way that they're building the squad, I think we're going to be fine. I think next season, I wouldn't, I wouldn't be afraid to put money on us to finish third, meaning us hitting at least 75 plus points. And I think if you can do that again next season, then you can take the next step after that. I think the only reason why you can't maybe hit that 80-point mark is because your squad isn't yet fully fleshed out. Let's see what happens in the rest of the window. If you get another forward, if you get a defender, if you get a fullback, I think that's going to be important.
It could be actually, it could be that when you look at the transfers and go, okay, 50 for Santos, 35 for Tielemans, it was going to be 35 for Edison, so it's pretty similar. And you look at potentially other signings we're doing as well. For me, this transfer window, it feels like a depth thing. It feels a bit like we will get more bodies through the door. They will be slightly cheaper than maybe we thought they were going to be. But it might be that if we're looking at getting another midfielder after this one, which will be obviously perfect, then we're going to need to look at defense, maybe look at attack. And so maybe I did say this, if we get people through the door are more than 6, then maybe it's about making sure that if we got a solid like first 11, at least a good first 11 with people in the right positions, and you look across to the bench and there's at least sort of like 4, 5, 6 options that can come in and out of the team as and when. I think that would be a better situation than we had last season, where it pretty much felt like we had a first 11 and any injury we got, there's a problem. So I think this might be like a sort of stabilizing window. But Quinn, I'm going to have to get other people on, so it's going to be a short one because obviously it's Mbappe versus Yamal quite
for
soon.
Sure, 100%. I'll be listening. Thanks, guys.
I'll try and do some more. I think you're in the Discord. I'll just post in the Discord on Twitter when I'm going to do things, and I'll try and do a few more of these like shorter calling shows and get people on, particularly when news happens as well. So if the next deal happens.
Okay, cheers, guys.
So thanks, Quinn, for phoning in, and we're going to get Bilal on second. So how are you feeling, Bilal?
Big up, Rich. Big up, chat. Hope you're all well.
So we thought we were going to get Edison. Now we got Tielemans and Santos. We're going to get a third. What's your feelings? Like the chat's been a bit angry the last couple of days with, I think, people dissatisfied or people want different signings. How do you feel?
I think that Tielemans is a better upgrade on what's his name, Edison. And I'm not angry about this deal. I think he's a good signing and he's got experience, so he'll improve that midfield. But Santos, I'm not too sure on. I've not seen a lot of him, so I'm reserving judgment at this minute. But yeah.
Yeah, Santos feels like an exciting signing, but again, it's based on like a small snapshot, and a lot of it is like, okay, it seems that Man United put out a press release yesterday saying he was a key target. So they wanted Santos for about a year. Santos forced his way out of Chelsea, but Chelsea also want to reduce their squad a bit. So I think maybe people looked at the price, and I think people got angry because it was £50 million. He's not a regular first team player at Chelsea. And but there are some people saying they think it's good value. What do you want next then, Bilal? Like, if we're going to get a third midfielder, maybe quickly, you never know, could be quite quickly. Like these deals are, and again, it might be one of these deals that is already advanced, but we don't know about. Who do you like as a third option?
I would like a bigger name midfielder, for example, someone like a Wharton. Like I don't know if we're looking at him or not. Judging from what's happened over the last week, you never know. We might have someone lined up already. But myself, yeah, I want someone of Wharton's quality.
I think Wharton's pretty popular, actually. Like, I think a lot of people like Wharton. I mean, I've said like for a while that I wanted Anderson to start with. I like Buwadi. These are kind of the targets I think we should be trying to get. And so, if we get another signing, depending on who it is, I would obviously back the players and hope that it works out. I just wonder whether it's going to be, you know, how we had this statement that everybody keeps referring back to about, you know, one big signing, one marquee signing. And at the moment, we got 2 signings. And for me, it's difficult to judge how the midfield rebuild is until we get that third one. So do you think it's going to be like, for me, if we got Sander Berge, I know people like him. I wouldn't be that enthusiastic. If we got Buwadi, I'd be surprised. Sangari, I'd be surprised. But those are the sort of signings I'd be looking at thinking these might work better. I mean, do you have like if Wharton's like one option, potentially is quite expensive. Do you have other options you think actually they'd work quite well? Or
so my 3 other options would be Wharton, BALEBA, and Buwadi. But I'd not be happy. I would not be too upset if you signed either of those 3. But yeah, Wharton would be my number 1 choice at this minute.
it's really difficult, isn't it? Because I think if we didn't get Tielemans, I think Wharton's really good on the ball. I think defensively he's actually they're pretty good in terms of like winning back possession. I'm just thinking, do we need someone that's more athletic? That's going to be like, I'm just trying to think. Again, maybe Man United will surprise us. I'm not sure how athletic, someone like Santos is, but I'm just thinking it's about partnerships, isn't it? And would a Wharton Mainu midfield be ideal? I always thought that maybe someone like Anderson would be good alongside Mainu, who would like be able to do lots of other things as well. I mean, Niche fan is saying Buwadi, generational player, is available. It's huge money for an 18-year-old. It would be difficult considering that City are linked with him.
We've got the money. Why don't we test the
That's what I think.
waters?
Do you think we can? I was asking this question this morning, and do you think if Man United went head to head with City, could we get Buwadi? Do you think, like, can we sell the project? Could we like put an offer on the table that matches City or is better than City's offer? Because it's a difficult one.
We should at least try to get him. It's like, put the money in, see what happens. Like, I reckon we've got the money to pay to sign him.
Jan is saying, to be honest, he doesn't care if we get Buwadi or not. No, he is. He was good in the World Cup. I think the thing that stood out as well is he was good in the World Cup, and he was very good against Casemiro in that game, where I think it showed like he's just a lot more athletic. He is a popular player.
I talked to people that watch the French league, and they say that he had a great season in the last 2 seasons.
You know, the thing is, like everything you can look at him. If you look at say highlight videos, it's about how good he is at tackling. He's obviously very clean at that. But I think people talk about when they beat Real Madrid a couple of years ago. So it's not a surprise. Also, if you look at his career, he played for the French national team every age level until senior level, and then he switched to Morocco. Presumably, I don't know, maybe it's to get into the team because France got a
Yeah,
ridiculous
it's hard
team.
to get into that French team.
But I was thinking that at 18 years old, then you drop him in the World Cup. He's playing against very difficult teams in Brazil and France, considering he's a teenager. I think he does a lot of like. I think he didn't do his he didn't do his reputation any harm at all. But I liked him before the World Cup, and so it's not based on the World Cup for me. I get the feeling that in an annoying way, Bilal, like City have done the window I wanted if they get Buwadi. If they get Buwadi, they've got Anderson and Buwadi. They've done the window I would have wanted, so it would annoy me even more. But I don't know. If we don't get him, then as Mike says, KONE BALEBA could be more realistic. I would not be surprised if Manchester United move for KONE because the price seems to be, I don't know, the price seems to be the sort of deal they'd go for, doesn't it? Like just over.
I just heard that he's quite injury prone, KONE. I've been put off. I looked at his injury record, and he gets a lot of like lower muscle injuries.
No, when you look at it, I don't think he's missed a crazy amount of games. Again, like he's missed like 6 or 7 games per season, and I'm thinking with Man United at the moment, like Corinne's saying, he's got some hamstring concerns. I mean, there is definitely if the price started going high, I'd lose interest in KONE. But when I saw he was initially going to be like 42 million, that's the price that Arsenal quoted. I was actually thinking that sounds like quite a good deal. Maybe the price is going to go up now because he's played well in the World Cup, and it seems that I don't know. Based on that, the only query I've got and the only question mark is he's like mid-20s. He's languishing in like Roma. He's just like, why isn't a big club coming in for him before?
Yeah, that's another concern I have with him playing in the Serie A. Yeah.
When I heard we might go for him, and Edison at the time was thought to be a deal, I was thinking we can't sign 2 players from Serie A. Like seriously, I know it doesn't matter 100% the league, but for me, that would have not been ideal.
No, it wouldn't.
Sebastian's saying that World Cup tax, United tax on KONE. No, maybe the price goes up too much because I think like KONE, if he goes up to like 60, it's going to be like not exciting. I think this one, a lot of it comes. Do you think it does come down to price? Like, do you think Man United's plan was going to be 100%? Let's get from Fernandes, but then got priced out.
Corinne just sent us something. It's about KONE's injury record. Just having a look now. He's had quite a lot of injuries over the seasons. it tends to be muscular issues.
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? So if you look at a lot of players, you could probably make the same argument for someone like Mainu and someone like Dorgu over the last couple of years that they've missed games. So I don't know. It would depend if it's considered like abnormally high, and yeah, it'd be tricky.
He's missed about 90 to 100 days apparently through injury for the last 7 months.
Malp says, I'm still waiting for us to sign a world-class player.
Who
you
does he consider? Who does he consider world class?
I think that's going to be a difficult debate. Do you think that, given this though, do you think that the Man United should be signing a player that we actually look at that is considered, say world class, elite, however you want to define it? I think the bracket would have been, somebody like maybe like a big price tag, someone like an Anderson, maybe even Tonali, Tchouameni, that sort of like signing. And I suppose last year Liverpool got Wirtz and Ekitike and Isak. Okay, their signings didn't work out, but at the time people were thinking good signings. Like, would you be looking at, in terms of this, like, do you think we're going to sign a sort of statement signing where fans are like, damn, okay, Man United are serious? Or there's nothing wrong with Tielemans, let me say that, but I think fans feel like there's got to be one signing that does kind of like look like it's going to elevate our team to the next level. That's what I think fans want to see.
A lot of us are assuming that the marquee signing is going to be another midfielder, but how do you know that? What if we're looking at an attacker or a striker as a marquee signing? I think I got a feeling that the marquee signing is going to be a winger.
Who do you think it's going to be? Like Yali says, we're not getting a world-class player because there's not many of those around. I think with the players that you're looking at, it's probably someone that would be considered like maybe like a top level signing or someone that definitely improves our first team. I would say maybe that's the best way of defining it.
I actually think we might be looking at someone like Vinicius Junior.
I've seen a couple of stories, and it wouldn't surprise me because Manchester United.
It's a gut feeling, by the way.
Yeah, do you know what I was going to say? I think there's going to be something in the market where Man United might do a lot of signings like Tielemans, like say even KONE or like Santos. Do you get the feeling that they're going to want, like whether it's a good thing or not, the Glazers will want like a shirt seller, won't they? To put it that way, they are going to want. I think they want to have some big name, someone that when we're like looking at advertising and looking at hopefully they're going to be a good football player. But I do get the feeling when Man United signed Cristiano Ronaldo, it wasn't in line with let's make sure we get the best available players at the time, and it was about that sort of thing. Do you think there's any chance we're going to be doing that sort of signing?
I think I don't know, but I just have the good feeling that they're going to look at a world-class winger. I don't know who that is, but it's just a gut feeling. Ideally, I just want us to focus on midfield this season, get a quality third midfielder instead of looking elsewhere. I think we're fine in the attacking front.
Andy says Alvarez. No, I think some of these and Mike says Rodgers would be a good signing. Yeah, Rodgers could be he could be pretty big money, couldn't he?
Yeah, apparently Aston Villa are looking for 130 million.
Well, no, I saw that. That is crazy. I mean,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I like him. He's a good player, but he's not worth that much.
Yeah, Quinn says get the depth right, and then in 2027 go and spend 250 on a couple of megastars. I mean, by the time we get to 2027, the megastars might be even more expensive. But I do get the feeling that this transfer window is going to be. I don't think we're going to get a player coming in that is incredibly exciting. I think it's going to be lots of like reliable players. I think we're going to be looking at that sort of window.
Yeah, I'd be happy with this window if he managed to get a good quality third midfielder who will be a starter.
Do you think this is true, like Sebastian saying, we're saving our budget to address left back and striker issues, and maybe more money is going to be spent on those positions, possibly?
Yeah, I reckon we'll look at left back later on down the line. I think the main priorities are midfield and I think from wing, left wing, I think.
Yeah. So how you feel overall before we get the next caller on? How are you feeling about the window? Because I sense, well, I see a lot of anger in the chat. I see some people that are happy what's going
Uh,
on.
I'm happy
I'm
with
trying to be neutral a
Tielemans.
bit.
Reserving judgment on Santos. I don't have much to say about Carl Darlow. He's got to be a backup. Uh, uh, but I'm just going to reserve judgment for now. I'll decide what I think of the window in September once we get all the deals done.
Yeah. Just go for a few comments. Andy says, I don't think Rodgers is better than what we have. I kind of agree, actually. I think Rodgers is good, but I don't think it's a massive step up from the attacking players we already have. I think it would give
And
certainly give us more depth, but I think it's an expensive way of getting it.
he also plays in Bruno's position, and Bruno hardly ever gets dropped.
Yeah, exactly. If you play in Bruno's position, it means you're sat on the bench, doesn't it? That I don't think he's going to, unless some for some reason that happens. Sporting Gold's also saying Rodgers not a good signing for him, and saying we've already got kind of that positions covered, haven't we? We've already got that sort of player. So I think backup striker left back feels like 100%. And Stephanie says Sir Harold of Kane. I don't think Harry Kane comes back and goes to Man United. I don't think
I think he's going
Bayern Munich
to.
let him go.
I think he's going to spend his prime in Germany, and he might end up going to the MLS or Saudi at the end of his career.
Yeah, JSN the cool kid says Body was way cheaper when his name wasn't doing the rounds so much. Somewhere under maybe like a year or two ago when we were talking about him, probably 18 months ago, we used to talk about him as maybe like a 30 million pound signing, 30 or maybe like 35 million pounds, it's like 35 million euros, that sort of price. Unfortunately, everybody knows about him now, and it's just
We're
made him
not
more
very good at
expensive.
developing players, to be fair. Who knows if you had signed him 2 years ago, he might have been playing for someone like Chelsea right now.
No, exactly. But hopefully he doesn't go to City. We'll have to see as well. I do get the feeling that Kane wants to share a record, Yali. I also think Kane probably wants to get a Premier League title. So if Man United can maybe establish themselves as definitely a top four team and get more points than we did last season, get closer, maybe we can get someone like Harry Kane. But you need to surround Kane with runners. And maybe
Definitely.
that's probably why, actually, that might be why Morgan Rogers is a good signing. Because if you look at Harry Kane playing for England, you've got runners around the squad, like left and right. Man United need to bring those sort of players back for Harry Kane to work. Otherwise, dropping Harry Kane in would obviously improve our team a lot. But I think if you got someone like Rogers and I'm not going to say Rashford because he'll be gone, I'm sure. But if you have people like Gordon and Madueke, those sort of fast runners that England have got, you get the best out of him. And also someone like Bellingham. If Bellingham can come as well, then I think that would be perfect. But any
That
final
would be a
comments?
dream world.
I'll just drop a link in a second. Great.
Great.
Bilal,
Okay.
thank you for getting involved. And
Thanks, Rich. Thanks for having me. Thank you guys in the chat.
No worries, mate. I'll speak to you I'll try and do another one, maybe on the weekend or what I might try and do. If these get a bit more popular, I'll try and do a few more. But thank you, Bilal. And now we're going to get on Broken Verdict. Mo, how are you feeling tonight, Mo? And random question for everybody is going to be Tielemans, Santos. Happy with that? Who's the third one? What's your thoughts? You okay, Mo? Okay, message from Mo in the background was like your internet drops sometimes. Let me know if you can speak, Mo. Otherwise, I'll put the link in the chat and get the next person on. which I'll just do that now. Yeah, the link's in the comments, Gray. If you want to jump on, you're welcome to do that. Sporting Goal says Setsko's a beast in waiting. Niche fan also, yeah, Bilal's a good guy. He's in the chat most of the time, actually. So good calling from Bilal. Mo's making coffee. Yeah, maybe Mo's negotiating a deal. We don't know. I think Mo might have some internet issues. That's probably more likely. So the link is in the chat. I'll just post it again if you want to come on. We're going to be live for like another 15 minutes or so. Then I need a bit of time to have a drink and get ready for Mbappe versus Jamal. Who do people want to win tonight? I mean, I'm thinking from an England perspective that I don't know which team I'd rather face. But when it comes to France versus Spain, I just prefer the French way of playing with just aggressive attacking players rather than Spain. I think at the moment, if I was going to be looking from an England perspective, I would rather face Spain. I think I'd rather face a team that Belgium could have beaten than a team that's been destroying everybody so far. That would be my take on this. Easy win for France. I don't know about easy. If France score first, I think it's going to be bad times for Spain. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, whatever happens, I hope Argentina don't win it. That would be a disaster. Right, we're going to get Gray on, and if you can rejoin again, Mo. France and Spain are the favourites. Look, I'll just say this before I get Gray on. You can't have Dembele, Elise, and Mbappe too many in a team and say you're not favourites. Like, come on. The other team are relying on a teenager. Welcome, Gray. How you doing, mate?
Hello, Rich. You okay, pal?
I'm good. I'm good. It's nice to put a face to the name in the chat that a lot of people probably recognise you from lots of channels as well, and your own channel as well, MUFC Debate. How are you feeling about the window? And I guess actually,
go on,
I was going to say when I'm doing streams, I try to be neutral, but I feel like I'm looking at the comments, and it doesn't matter what I'm saying. People are angry about a lot of things in the window, but the window hasn't happened yet. It's just starting, really. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah. There's a lot of up in the air tables and chairs, isn't there? I can see it myself. I see it regularly. I'm okay with it so far, to be honest, Rich. What's left of the window? Couple of weeks. I'm not sure how long's left, but I'm okay with it.
I think it's like this September, isn't it? So we've got a long way to go. And Man United now we've got a couple of deals.
Yeah.
Now we've got, say, Tielemans through the door, Santos through the door. It looks like a lot of journalists are saying the next signing is going to be a midfielder. Do you have a favourite? Like, is there a player you think we need to get this guy in, or are you relaxed about it?
I quite like the idea of KONE, and I acknowledge the fears about his injury record. It's not something you can just ignore. But if he's currently fit, can he be managed? I don't know. BALEBA, a lot of people have got a downer on BALEBA. I'm not convinced he's just fell completely off the wagon. I think it's more an attitude thing where he is absolutely through and through Man United fan from being a kid, from what I've heard. And he has his heart set on United, and they've priced him out of a move, and he's seen his arse, and he's just like, well, do you know what? I'm just not going to try. You don't go from having a fantastic season to being dropped, basically, because your forms fell off that rapidly. I'm not having it. I don't think that's what's happened. I think he's almost on strike, if you like. Now, other people will say, well, that's a bad sign as well, because a player that can just get up and go on strike isn't what you want. However, if he is going on strike, I'm convinced that it's because he absolutely loves United and he wants to play for United. And if he did join us, I can't foresee him going on strike to go and play for somebody else, because he is a United fan by all accounts. I mean, I can't swear to that. This is what I've heard. And I heard this when we were in for him last year, that he was a
They
United
agreed
fan.
terms with him, didn't they? Terms were agreed. So
Absolutely.
that's something that is still like they did that at the end of the season. So terms agreed. He wouldn't be
Yeah.
expensive in terms of like salary. The transfer fee would be, I mean, in terms of clubs, Brighton are like the worst club to negotiate with. We just got a bit of breaking news from Berber just in, so maybe let's change our opinions quickly. Said Manchester United has made a call to the agent of KONE recent days. One of the players they appreciate, I think with this one, Fabrizio has been actually not too bad with some of the information. What do you think with KONE that maybe we're going to see him tonight? Like, is he a 6? Says Daz. I think he was a bit under the radar until. Let me just have a look at some of his stats.
I
But
think he's a 6, but he bombs forward as well. So when you got a player like that, you're going to need your number 8 to drop back, or one of your centre backs to move forward a bit, maybe, and close to a back 3. And I don't mean let's play back 3. I just mean when he goes bombing forward.
yeah, no, potentially. I don't know if the price is going to go up because his what you call it? I suppose playing well for France. If France win the World Cup, then standing in for Tielemans put him in the spotlight a little bit more. I would say regarding this one, the only questions I've got is that he's at the moment now he's 25, a couple of seasons now in Roma. Like, why hasn't he been mentioned before that he's quite cheaply priced? He looked good for France. The thing is, France have got such a dominant team
Yeah.
that I don't know until you see them play against. Let's see how he does against Bellingham and Anderson if we got to the final or something. But I think he's a good player. But
Yeah,
I
he's a
would
cracking player. There's no two ways about it. He's a cracking player. I don't have a problem with him personally, like I said, but I do acknowledge that some people are fearful over his injury record. I mean, I think off the top of my head, I think a couple of them injuries were calf strains and things like that. Now, all footballers get them, so you can almost discount them from his record, for me.
looking at this in terms of, I think with this one, duels, like in terms of duels and winning back possession, looking at like how he compares to it's not bad. Like it wins, I think 57% of duels. So it's not like BALEBA, it's not like Alex Scott, but it's probably more in line with people like Tonali. I think forward passing is really high. So that's I think in terms of one, he's going to be someone that gets the ball forward quickly as well. I don't know whether it's going to be and Man United, maybe we're not going to go for someone that's going to be like people want, like a real 6. Maybe we're going to be looking at potentially. I don't think I would say he is a 6 really does. Like it seems to be further forward a bit, but I don't know. It's very tricky. But just say massive thanks to Bilal. I'd minimized all the screens and I was just looking at information on KONE. So thank you, Bilal, for the super chat. Am I going to do a preview for the preseason game this weekend? Can I just ask you a very quick question, Gray?
Yes.
Is the World Cup getting too big? Because the World Cup finals on the weekend. Preseason starts. If we expand the World Cup, is preseason going to start during the World Cup? It feels like I was talking to like family members recently. Football seems relentless and it's literally on all the time. And I was thinking, I like the World Cup. I couldn't cope with the amount of games. There was literally too many.
Yeah, well, we got Wrexham. Is it next Saturday?
Yeah, exactly. So, Bilal, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I might try and do something quickly, and try and get some people on. But yeah, it just seems like there's no break, is there? There's like an overlap. So obviously England might be in the final, and we might be looking at playing Wrexham. Is that the same day even? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, isn't it? I'm sure it is. It's a Saturday, isn't it? I mean, it's one of them, Rich. Pre-season, some games are used for like blood in the kids. That sounds wrong, doesn't it? Blood in the kids, but you know what I mean.
No, I was saying to people like enjoy the pre-season because it's going to be like an academy tour, I think, with Maguire and Nick Shaw. So I think it's going to be a bit like a field trip, and Maguire and Shaw can be the teachers and take that. But I think Santos is going to be there. I think the main thing is there's a few academy players that are going to be good enough for the first team, and so hopefully it's going to be a good game against Wrexham. I'm looking forward to it because we can talk about Man United a bit more.
Yeah. Well, the thing is with the kids, every pre-season before the new season starts, historically has been a lot of kids getting to show what they've learned, and the ones that are ready to step up at that age or ability. Historically, that's what it's been used for, as well as obviously getting your main squad characters involved, which usually happens slightly later in the pre-season anyway. And it just gives the boss a chance to have a look at the kids and see if they can mix it with the adults.
So I was thinking that for me, the key thing is going to be, like last season, I was hoping we did a goalkeeper very early in the window, and I think it's about building up. Like for Santos, get him in the first team. Like Main is going to be probably taking a break after England come back, but he's barely played at all, so he's going to be itching to get a game, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but I think it's going to be an opportunity with maybe that resetting the defense as well. You got Shaw and Maguire haven't played, so at least they're going to be fresh. And I think Aiden Heaven, hopefully we can get Heaven and Yori in the team because again they're going to be quite fresh. So no, I'm looking forward to it. I would just be looking and thinking, and maybe Tielemans can take some part in it now because we got that deal done quite quickly. I'm not sure whether it's quick enough. I think we're going to see Santos, so maybe that's one positive.
Yeah, I'd like to see Colby. I'd like to see what's his name, Thomas Tuchel, actually use Colby as like a secret weapon and bring him out in the latter stages, and for Colby to just really turn it on, show him what he's been missing, and just shock everybody, and be an impact in the competition. Something slightly different, like a hidden weapon. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, do you know what I was thinking? You know how he came into the Euros a few years ago and was one of the better players when we had a couple of games with Trent, and then when Kobe Mainoo came in, he was much better in the midfield. I was just thinking when Declan Rice wasn't fit and had to go off, that was the time to bring on Mainoo. Like, we get some control in midfield. I think Mainoo makes the he doesn't give the ball away, and I think when you've got Anderson around him, Bellingham in front as well, I think that could have been. I think it would have worked well, and I think that England won it anyway. But I just get the feeling that he's too good not to play minutes in these matches. So I think you've got to try and sometimes you've got to try and get a hold of the game. And I think Mainoo helps you do that. He's going to keep possession, and with the runners around him, I think it would be good. But I don't know. I think for Tuchel, if he wins the World Cup, I'll still be thinking, why the hell didn't Mainoo play? We can win the World Cup with Mainoo, maybe slightly easier than without him, but that's just my view.
Well, that leads me on to a question, Mitch, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
Is it coming home?
Do you know what? Like, Gray, we've watched a lot of World Cups, and when I was watching the game in Mexico, it had all the hallmarks of like a 1998 against Argentina, and we got through it. I mean, I think we got through it reasonably comfortably, like considering we were against 10 men in the we had 10 men in the Azteca for a decent amount of time. And after that match, I was thinking, I know every single match England go behind, but they have this resolve, and it's reminding me a bit of 1999, where Man United were losing 1-0, we scored 2 goals. We're losing against Congo, losing against Mexico and against Norway. I think we're going to get to the final, and I think unfortunately we might run into an outrageous team in France that have got. We're going to have to play incredibly well to stop that team. Yeah. So at the moment, I can't see us beating France, but you never know. We probably have to defend.
We can shut them down, though. If we can shut them down and pinch one, we can win it. It's 90 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, the only thing I'm thinking of is that I don't think France have played a really good team. Like, for me, the 4 teams left in the competition are the best 4 teams. So we're going to find out a lot about France and Spain tonight, and a lot about how much FIFA like Argentina tomorrow night, I think. Yeah. But no, are you confident, Gray? It's probably the most confident I've been since Euro 96, I think.
No, I'm not. I'm not confident. I remember Mexico 1986, and I was very, very. I was only a boy, but I was very confident then, and we had a fantastic team. And Diego cheated us out of it, but then again, he scored the best goal I've ever seen in a World Cup finals in the same game. So, but yeah, and I still want revenge for that. I've never got over that hand of God nonsense. They'd have probably gone on to beat us regardless.
I was thinking, like, would hand of God be ruled out by VAR? With this current FIFA, I'm not so sure. I just say Quinn. I think Quinn's testing me. Like, Uruguay won it in 1930, Quinn. And Brazil had to wait until, I think it was like 58 before they won it. Quite a bit later.
But weren't Uruguay the first winners of the World Cup?
Yeah, they won like 1930. Then Italy won a couple. Uruguay, I think Uruguay won it in 50, which is pissed off Brazil. But we've got a few more minutes. Any questions you got, Gray, that you want to ask? I've been like kind of like worried about asking too many questions about transfers because last night people were getting very angry. Jules was hosting, and I felt a bit bad for him that Tielemans announcing the signing should be good news, but people are just I think people are angry about the club. I don't think it's this window in particular. I think it's like the previous 5 years or so.
Well, I made a video the other day. Was it yesterday? I don't know. I can't remember. Make them that often now because a lot of what I do is in short form. I'm not convinced that people would be as angry at the club and predominantly Ineos if it wasn't for the fact that the press keep chucking names out, the content creators keep regurgitating, because obviously when the press put it out, we have so much to sort. Not me personally, because I don't really go in for the transfer stuff too much, as you know. It's more an escape from it. I'll only talk transfers if it was something like Tielemans the other day when it was a big shock and it's serious. We've triggered his release course. It's going to happen tomorrow. Then I'll come out with it and do a short on it. Keep it short, keep it sweet, straight to the point.
That was quite good, wasn't it? Because I was looking for news and I said, right, I'll do something at 1 o'clock, and I just checked online. I was like, wow, Tielemans, here we go. It came out of nowhere. So.
Well, to be fair, so did the other one, Santos. That was quite quick and came from nowhere. And nobody knew about Carl, what's his name, from Leeds, the keeper. And he's a cracking keeper, isn't he? You know, he's a really, really good keeper. So for a number two, and he's happy to sit as a number two keeper, that's a result. So that's that department taken care of. But anyway, getting back to my point, what I was trying to say, I think the press are stoking the fire and they're chucking names in left, right, and centre, and the fans are getting excited. The content creators are discussing it for anything up to an hour and different permutations of them. And I just think, has any of this actually come from the club? Because if it hasn't,
I don't think it at all. I don't think the club are saying anything at all. The club don't want this drama, do they?
Close to the chest, aren't they?
I think the club don't want to say this sort of thing because why would you advertise who you're trying to buy? I think the club are trying to keep things a little bit.
I think they did with Anderson, and they had done for some months. Our number one target is Anderson. I think that came out from the club. But all the others, I don't think were a direct quote from the club at all. And therefore, I'm blaming the press for stoking the fires and getting the fans agitated to the point where some of them are falling out with each other. And, you know, really, it's not fair what the press are doing, if that is the case.
I think the Too Many as an example. The first day I saw Too Many news, I was saying when I was streaming, I said, right, I think the first sentence I said was, right, Too Many. I think this is a contract negotiation move because we saw this before with, I can't remember who it was now, but we've seen this like years ago. And there's so much like rubbish said about players. And then it's a contract negotiation and then the contract gets extended. So I said, that's going to happen. But there's like Andy Mitten this morning, like, it's like the agents of these players just don't stop and they're just relentless. And I think that when we had the Matheus Flanders one, that was probably one of the worst ones where it's literally non-stop about, you know, every single day people are talking about it. So I think when we had Tielemans, I was just pleasantly surprised. Not that it was Tielemans, that it was just a deal suddenly out of nowhere and happened.
Yeah.
Gray's got a question. Stu's got a question saying, who would you ideally want as your next centre midfielder?
Yeah, well, the two centre mids I just mentioned, BALEBA or KONE. And to be honest with you, I'm undecided which of the two, but I don't think I'd want to look. I don't know of anybody that we could go and get other than them two. Now I know KONE, didn't they say he's not for sale? They signed a new contract, but then they've come out again and said, "Well, the deal's possibly still on." I think that might have come from Romano. I mean, you go in with just signed a contract or not, you go in with enough money and you're going to get the player, aren't you?
I think that's too many. Like too many signed a new contract. But again,
too many. Yes, it was. Sorry, yeah.
That's what Semenyo did though. Semenyo signed a new contract with a 5-year contract with.
It was too many, you're right.
And then a few months later he went. So all that happens. Yeah, if you sign a contract, all it does is mean the price goes up a bit, doesn't it? It's just about protecting the club.
Of course, yeah. Well, I mean,
final point.
BALEBA.
I'm gonna have to head off in a second, Gray. Any final point you wanna?
I was just going to say, BALEBA. If we get BALEBA, that's going to cause chaos in the fans, and that could be quite interesting. So I wouldn't say let's not do that one, because it'd be interesting to see how the fans actually react, and then react again once he's actually playing for us if we get him.
All I can say is when I did a stream at 1 p.m, I think you're in the chat for the 1 p.m. stream. I put a poll in the comments and I said, right, you can vote for BALEBA, Alex Scott, NMECHA, and who was the other guy I had in there? I'm trying to think who it was. KONE, I think it was. Yeah, KONE. So I had was it KONE or was it someone else? But BALEBA came out top. Like BALEBA was the one player that people want. So no, I was surprised.
I am surprised at that from what I've seen.
Yeah, he got over 50% of the vote, and I was like, I was surprised. I thought Alex Scott would win, but it does seem to be that for Mike Stew saying, if we get BALEBA for 70, he'd be all over that, and so people forget
I think
how
I
good
would
it
as
really
well,
is.
to be fair.
Oh, that was it, Sander Berg. Sorry, Corinne, I forgot Sander Berg.
Yeah, I can never vote on him because when I try and scroll up to see who's in the voting list, it just springs back down. So I only get the option of the top 2, if you know what I mean. Not my fault. Excuse me. Not drank enough Guinness. It's making me do that.
No, Corinne said he's one of the few who voted for Sander Berg. Yeah. Who wants BALEBA? Said Niche fan. A lot of people do like BALEBA. Like a lot of people. And again, I think the point I was trying to make is that players have bad seasons. And there's loads of reasons. Like people can say what reason they think it is, but there's going to be a few reasons like injury, motivation, difference of role in the club, playing alongside different people as well. Yeah, but Buhari's like young, but then you could see like Diamonde could have like a bad year. Like he's only had 1 season. Players can have bad seasons as well. And I think also the injury issue might be a reason why he's playing a few more games as well. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But before we go, this should redirect to G. G was going to be doing a watch along. Thank you, Gray, for joining tonight. Thank you, Bilal and Mo. Hopefully your internet's good next time. And thank you also, Corinne, for coming on as well. I'm going to try and do more call-in shows and maybe keep them like short and sweet, like say 50 minutes to an hour, and get people to come on. But hopefully, I'll try and advertise it on the Discord. And maybe it's something I can do every few days during the transfer window, because it just means that instead of me moaning about the same thing, I can kind of just go, right, it's Gray's fault. Gray thinks this. But it's all good.
If in doubt, blame Gray. Nice one, thank you. You better plug me now. You better give me a plug for that.
Now, I think with this one that I would say for people watching, if you watch Gray's channel, MUFC Debate, watch other YouTube channels, just remember that everyone's got a different view and no one knows 100% how these players are going to work out either. So until I would say I'm going to back any player that joins Man United until they become a Di Maria, I'll assume they're going to be a good signing as well.
Yeah. All new subs are welcome, by the way.
So Quinn says these quick calling shows work well until we win something at least. Well, if we do them until we win something, we might be doing them for years, Quinn. But no. And also, if there's a transfer signing, here we go. I'll try and do one of those on the day, so people can come on, have their say, and we'll just have a quick discussion. And maybe if there's a bit more demand, we can do like sort of 5-minute calls. So big up to you, Gray. Thank you for joining, mate. Thanks for watching the channel as well.
Nice to come on and be on with you there, mate.
And we will be enjoying France versus Spain. And until then, I'll be back live tomorrow, hopefully 9 AM, depending on news, etc. And then, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Cheers, lads.